we send this letter to President Trump, and we haven't had anything happen, unfortunately.
What happens when you're a MAGA farmer who got screwed over by Trump the first time, but for some reason decided to vote for him a second time? Well, you get screwed over all over again. These same folks who told students who are in school to be doctors and scientists that they shouldn't have taken out those loans if they couldn't pay them back, well, now they're begging their God King Trump to bail them out after getting screwed over by his idiotic trade war, only for their farms to get bought out from underneath them by J.D. Vance's shady company. Folks, the leopard is eating faces, spitting it back up, and eating it all over again like a dumb dog. And we're all just here to watch the Pony Show. Be sure to subscribe to Really American, and let's jump right into it.
American Soybean Association sent a letter to President Trump, part of the letter stating the new tariff rates, quote, puts our farmers at an untimely competitive disadvantage.
President Trump has been going back and forth about delays, pushing tariffs off, changing the numbers, and that's just made our markets even more confusing.
The biggest problem that some farmers are facing is running out of equity.
Kenny Qualls is a farmer in the Lake City area. He said the future is very uncertain.
Right now, there's no optimism. There's no way to look at a profit. So a lot of people are going to be getting out. We always look for the next year, but the next year's not promising anything better. So it's taken away hope for a lot of people.
McAnally said up to 1 in 3 farmers face going out of business.
It's just the farm families themselves, their mental health, being able to survive this. We need to put our arms around them, help them through this hard times.
I think this comment perfectly encapsulates my attitude. I wonder how many memes he shared over his outrage of the thought of student loan forgiveness. I wonder how often he defended the defunding of school lunch programs, Medicaid, and food stamps because socialism. Hypocrite. I mean, just listen to these farmers begging for special considerations because of how important their industry is, as if the rest of us aren't productive members of society.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about a third of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. We send this letter to President Trump because we've been talking for months about needing to have sales in place, a deal in place, a phase 2 type agreement that has purchase commitments along with a level playing field on trade with no tariffs, and we haven't had anything happen, unfortunately. And our appeal to President Trump and his administration is make soybeans a priority in any trade negotiations that are taking place. Soybeans are the #1 agriculture export to China. And in the last trade war, it was 71% of the losses that we had as American farmers, and they're critical.
The first term, when McDonald Trump had his trade war with China, the government had to pull out massive bailouts in order to compensate farmers. This is an article from Politico from 2020. Here's your check. Trump's massive payouts to farmers will be hard to pull back. It's a big problem for agriculture because it's not sustainable, said Ann Schechinger, senior economics analyst at the Environmental Working Group, a nonprofit watchdog organization. It's really difficult once you're giving farmers this much money to then take away those payments. It's a problem for taxpayers too. The size, speed, and lack of scrutiny of the payments should concern the public. But of course, not all farmers got that compensation. I'm sure it won't surprise you to learn that most of the COVID farmer relief package went to massive farming businesses, while small mom-and-pop farmers got 0.26%. Here's the headline from NBC. Small farmers left behind in Trump administration's COVID-19 relief package. The uneven distribution of funds is stark. The top 10% got over 60% of the pot, while the bottom 10% got just 0.26%. More specifically, the top 1% got more than 20% of the money, totaling $1.2 billion. The top 10% got over 60%, and the bottom 10% got the 0.26%. The top 10% averaged at about $95,000, while the bottom 10% averaged at around $300,000. And this is what I mean by survivorship bias. These MAGA farmers voted for Trump a second time because they were the ones who received enough funding the first time to stay afloat. They weren't in the bottom 10% that only got $300. Their neighbors, who were in the bottom 10%, went bankrupt. But they themselves thought, oh, well, I got my farm saved. I have enough money for myself. My bankrupt neighbor must have done something wrong and didn't deserve it the way Trump decided I did. And surely they were thinking to themselves that King Trump would come and bail them out again like he did the first time when he led them off the cliff. But this right here is exactly why he won't bail them out this time. This is called Acre Trader, and it's a private equity platform that allows people to invest in farmland managed by Acre Trader. They boast about currently managing nearly 40,000 acres worth almost $500 million. And who started Acre Trader? None other than Vice President J.D. Vance. I wonder if the Trump organization has a little cut at this bad boy too. Vance invested up to $65,000 in private investments in Acre Trader during his stint as a venture capitalist, according to his 2022 financial disclosure with the Senate Ethics Committee. The investment firm Narya Capital, which Vance launched in 2020 with backing from PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel, was a vehicle for these investments and a key backer in the early funding rounds of the farmland startup. While Vance is no longer listed as a partner at Narya Capital, according to his 23 financial disclosures, he appears to still be an investor in the firm, or more technically, multiple legal entities with names including Narya. There's no indication that Vance has divested from Acre Trader, and there's every indication that the investment remains in place. So what does Acre Trader actually do? Well, I'll let them explain that for themselves, because even in their short little commercial, it feels like they're bragging about being able to buy up farmland before other farmers can get to it.
There's very low turnover in farmland. Not only is there limited vacancy in farmland, but properties don't come up for sale that often. And those farms that do come up for sale each year, a lot of them are happening in private transactions, like arm's length transactions. And so Acre Trader is a national network of brokers, farmers, and fund managers, and we're working with all of them to build relationships, and they'll send us deals in farmland when it comes up for sale. And we're really out there, we've got a dedicated team that's out there looking at those deals every day, and that really simplifies the process for investors.
It simplifies the process for investors by having a dedicated team out there buying up bankrupt farms. So what they're doing is buying up profitable farmland from struggling farmers, managing them internally, and then selling those opportunities to invest in the entity itself that holds the title. Here's how Acre Trader describes that. This is not, however, the same thing as owning the land itself. As Acre Trader explains, you don't own a specific location on the subject property. You do have an ownership in an entity that holds the legal title to that land. By the very nature of the investment, as described in the meme, the people buying into the land are generally not involved with visiting the property itself. So they're interrupting the arm's length transactions from farmer to farmer, mom and pop to mom and pop, and instead managing them under a private equity firm, the same thing that BlackRock is doing to our housing.
First, Acre Trader works with farmers and an expert team to identify and evaluate potential properties, which must pass a rigorous selection process before being placed into their own single-purpose legal entity like an LLC. You can then purchase shares in that entity through a simple online process that takes just minutes. Acre Trader handles the administrative details for you and works with experienced farmers to manage the land, while you have the potential to earn income in two ways. First, your investment may generate annual income through tenant rent payments or a share of revenue from products grown on the property. Second, at the end of the designated hold period, the property is sold by the entity, and you receive your portion of any additional net profit it generates from appreciation in value.
So what JD Vance is trying to do here is take these farms, put them in their own LLC, which is managed by AcreTrader, and then sell ownership shares of the farm to private investors. AcreTrader turns around and charges rent to the same farmers who they probably bought the land from, and then dictates what they can and can't do based on what's profitable. This is the franchising of farming. It seems like Trump is doing everything in his power to destroy farmers because maybe that's exactly what he's doing. And instead of self-owned farms, which have been the backbone of our agricultural industry for centuries, they're trying to remake the agricultural industry in the same predatory structure that has turned taxi driving from a career into a gig, turned housing into Airbnbs, and entertainment into endless subscriptions. They want everything to be owned by private equity and are driving the current owners of these farms into bankruptcy so they can buy up their properties for the cheap, then turn around and charge the same farmers rent on their own farms. And these MAGA morons are still supporting them. It's like they long to own nothing. It's like they want to be indentured servants all over again. If you want to stay up to date on MAGA's many failures, be sure to subscribe to Really American. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.